Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show on Flow FM. Pat Brown is joining me to have a look at the weekend's netball action in the River Murray Netball Association. Great to speak with you again, Pat. How are you this Friday?
I'm good, thanks, Dan. And you?
Very well, thank you. It was a not quite a round of blowouts, but not really a close round either. It was sort of in between. So let's get into this first game. And the Imperials stay on top of the ladder with a win over Jervois 60-43, but I'd suspect the Bloods would be pretty happy with that margin against the top team.
Yes, they would. Jervois knew it was always going to be a hard game, and they were right. The Bloods never gave up, and they challenged all game. But Imps coach Carrie Daniels has been running various combinations and is starting to establish a good team of options and choices for her players against whatever they come up against. And the young guns for Jervois are settling well into the top grade of competition and, in fact, are quite enjoying the challenge. Imps are now planning for the finals and in stabilising their team of choice with these options for when necessary in front of mine. And it was a good game to watch, full of moments of brilliance for both teams at times. Plus, the game was played in good spirit, which makes for a great game of netball, but still a win for Imps. There was never ever going to be any doubt about that. But 17 goals, very good for Jervois.
All right, so both teams must be pretty happy with that result. Always good when the game's played in good spirits as well.
Definitely.
Let's go to the Southern Suns win over Maipolonga, 51-43. I think we can call this one the game of the round, and I think we probably called it the game of the round heading into the round as well.
Yeah, or either that or the Manum Storm game.
Yes, one of those two, yeah.
Yeah, but the Suns were keen for a win this week after going down to Imps the week before. With plenty of player options, the Suns started with one of their many choices for height in all the right places. They have this ability at being able to match height in position no matter who the opposition is, which just gives them so much versatility. Maipo's attacking lineup would have found that difficult. However, the young players are starting to learn how to counter-attack against height, and that would have been good for them to experience another game like it. Both goal circles were contested with enthusiasm by all players. I like the word enthusiasm at times. With only a margin of 8 goals by the end of the game was never really won or lost until the very end of time. Chances for changes to the scoreline were always there. The work rate for all players was always visible, but minor errors in passing and or leading too early did impact on the game for the Tigers. But it was a good win for the Suns after the week before, but also for this coming week coming up as well. So it would have, again, been a good game to watch. But, the Suns needed the win after the previous week.
Absolutely. Let's look to our next game. Tailem Bend beat the Coorong Cats 48-32. Good to see Tailem Bend get a win on the board.
Yes, it definitely was. The Cats are struggling badly this season, mainly due to injuries in and around the team, and this game was no different for them. It's very hard to settle any team unless consistency of availability is there, and with injuries, there's no guarantee from week to week. Tailem played a good game of both attacking and defensive movements. There were some brilliant passages of play by the Eagles, but they need to do it more often to be able to mix it with the teams above. It was a good game for spectators to watch as both teams brought their all, as this was a game that could have actually gone either way to many in the start. But these injuries to the Cats are costing them greatly. It was a well-earned win for the Eagles and one they badly needed to reinstate just some belief within the team and within each other, and that they are here, they can do it, and they can push the team. So it was a good win for them.
All right, last game of the round, Mallee Storm over Manum 56-42. Like you said, this was probably the other match of the round, but Mallee on the road found a way to get a pretty big win.
This definitely, to me, was the game of the round, as it promised, because it was a promise kept. Right from the first whistle, these games started fiercely, and both teams were determined for control of the game. And this was a battle that ensured for the whole 60 minutes of play. Mallee Storm may be feeling reassured of being able to play finals this season. However, there's no assurance for Manum. as Ramblers only sit below them by percentage. Manham knew they needed this win, and that is how they took to the court. Accuracy in goals is always going to be a huge part of any game, but to achieve that accuracy, you first have to be given the ball. And pressure by Storm within the centre third area at times was a stumbling block for the Roos in penetrating their goal third and indeed their goal circle with balance and control. It was a hard-fought game and Manham never gave up, but the Storm have a point to prove. Changes and introductions of new players to their team is still going on in an attempt to find the right mix to take their game up to either the Suns or Imps, hopefully in the final game of the season for them.
All right, some very good games there in round 11. Let's look forward now to round 12 because this week there are some very, very good matchups awaiting us. And the first I want to bring up is the Mallee Storm hosting the Southern Suns. This one is a thriller for a few reasons. The Storm have a chance to really have a chance to take second spot on the ladder with a win. They're currently in third. The Suns are in second, just leading them by percentage and one game, but they have played an extra game. So a really good opportunity for the Storm here. But it's also the third live stream match for the season. Tell us about that, Pat.
This week is the third live feed, so it's a game I've really been looking forward to. People tell me Storm at home is a hard game, and that is exactly what I expect to see this week. The Suns appear thus far to be having the slightly better season, but will this continue this week? Not sure if Storm have anything to say about that. Both teams have height, both teams have vast experience, and both teams are very competitive. This is going to be a great game of netball, one that I should be relatively close, I hope. Two teams have not faced each other since round 3, and we all know that Storm's team has changed significantly since then. Will the Suns be ready for these changes? I hope so, for this game is definitely the game of the round for me, and I'm so glad I'll be there to be able to watch it. A draw maybe? Who can tell? The Suns won by only 8 the first time round. Could this game be reversed? I don't know whether I'm game enough to call it a draw or not, Dan.
We'll keep tabs on that one. Can't wait to see how that plays out. Maipalonga get a good chance to get back on the winners list this week. They're hosting the Coorong Cats.
Yeah, and traditionally Maipo is very hard to beat at home, so the Cats will find it a bit hard this week. Maipo have been knocking on doors over the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure all that knocking's about to pay off. Maipo are only 2 points out of the 4. And their percentage at the moment is quite competitive with current fourth-place team Manham. So they are not out of the race yet, but they need this win and they need a big score to go with it to maintain the percentage hope in that they can just make the 4. For the Cats, this just looks like another hard week on the court. But since these two teams have met, feeding into the goal circle for the Tigers has improved, and I'm not sure the Cats have the answer for young Charlie Lewis's height in and around the goalpost. This should be a win for the Tigers. The question will be by how much. And if they want to play in that 4th spot, they need this game. So I'm sure they will go out with the determination to take it.
Interesting one between Tailem Bend and the Ramblers. It's a Tailem Bend home game, and the Ramblers, well, they've been interesting this year. They had an easy draw to start the year and won a lot of games, and then when they faced all the top teams, they lost a lot of games, and now they're back to the start of the draw where they get to play a few of the bottom teams again. So a good chance for them to just get some momentum up into the back end of the year. Yeah,
you're right, because the last time these two teams met, it was only a 9-goal victory, and it was actually the first live feed game. So I was able to be there to watch that game, and Ramblers only won it effectively within the last few minutes of the game. I mean, it was competitive between both teams the whole game. Tailem will be hoping the errors that crept into their game in those last few minutes will not come again this week. I know they've been working really hard at correcting their mistakes, and they'll be hoping for a better outcome. But Ramblers are fighting for 4th spot against Manham, and they won't lie down for this game. They know that they're coming up against Tailem Bend, and they know Tailem Bend has a home court advantage, which sometimes has a big way of determining outcomes. So this is going to be another good game of netball, and it's going to be very hard. It's going to be fought very hard, and the ball work up and down the court will be quite impressive, but the goal shooting will also be equally impressive. So this is going to be a hard game. I'm going to go for Ramblers because they want to be able to challenge Manham for that 4th spot, but Tailem at home is not an easy task.
Well, if they want to challenge Mannum for fourth spot, they could do with Mannum taking a loss this week. And, well, they're playing the top-placed Imperials, and it's an Imperials home game, so the Roos will have their work cut out for them in that one, but it's certainly winnable.
It is, but I can't see that Imperials they had a really hard game against Maipo 2 weeks ago and then had a hard game against the Suns before Jervois. Imps won't lie down for this game. If Mannum want it, they're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to win it. Imperials will not lie down for them. They will be out there. Carrie Daniels has been practising and playing around with her options of strength and height and speed and body strength. So Mannum are going to have a hard battle. But more importantly is going to be the battle in their minds, because they'll know that Ramblers are chasing them. And Ramblers will possibly, if they win against Taylor and Mannum go down against Imps, could possibly drop out of the 4. They also have the possibility that with Maipo winning against the Cats, Mannum could actually see themselves drop into 6th spot. So I'm sure it's something that Mannum's coach and players are only too aware of. So it's going to depend a lot on how much of these changes, as you say, with playing like Ramblers coming up against easier teams, same with Maipo and that, is going to play mentally on the minds of the Mannum players. That would be interesting, but I still think Imps are not prepared to let this game go regardless of what Mannum do.
All right, fantastic round ahead tomorrow in the River Murray Netball Association. Thank you very much for all that info, Pat. Enjoy the netball. Good luck to all those playing in the association this weekend. We'll chat to you next Friday, Pat.
Thanks, Dan. See ya.